Hi everybody, Ree here from mummyof4.com. Welcome to my channel and my very first YouTube live in a really long time. So if someone could just let me know in the chat, can you see me okay? Can you hear me okay? I've got my mic just a shot. So just tell me that you can hear me so that I know I'm not talking to myself. So I don't know. You never can tell, can you? You never can tell with technology if it is working or not. So I have got a whole load of questions that you guys have sent in over on Instagram, where I'm over there at Mummy of 4 UK. There we go. Someone's saying they can hear me. Fantastic. My technology is not failing me today. So I'm just going to dive in. This is just a really random Q&A live. I just thought we'd try it because I haven't done them for such a long time. I thought it would be something a bit different. Obviously, normally my videos are edited, so you're going to have to excuse the ums and ahs or any tech hiccups or whatever that we have. But I just thought it'd be something a bit different. If I'm honest, my schedule over the summer is a massive struggle, and I didn't want to drop any of my uploads. So I thought, hey, do you know what? If I do lives, I can still talk to you guys. I can do it in a really fun way that we don't normally get to do. But also it'll save me hours and hours and hours of editing. So I thought I'd rather do a live than drop an upload, if that makes any sense at all. So I'm just going to dive in. I'm just going to start with random questions that I've got over here from Instagram. So let's start with, have you always been organized or have you had to learn to be organized? I have 1,000,000% had to learn how to be organized. I was not brought up to be organized. In fact, I am a recovering procrastinator, and that has been a really hard habit to ditch. I found when my eldest was little, and let's face it, if you've got fewer children, you don't need to be as organized. And the more children I had, the more I felt I needed to be organized. And the more additional needs that your children have, then the more you need to be organized. So perhaps a neurotypical child, if you ran out of something that they didn't eat, they could just eat something else. Whereas a child with autism, perhaps it would be the end of the world and it would cause a lot more stress. So things have forced me to become more organized, but equally the more organized I've become, because I've had to be, then the easier my life has become. So that's it's definitely been a process, and it's not an overnight thing. It's just putting like little things in place and then improving on them and improving on systems, and it's a gradual thing, definitely not overnight. So if you don't feel like you are an organized person, I was not born an organized person and I still have a way to go. We all can, there's always things you can tweak and improve. But yeah, don't feel like just because you don't feel organized now, it doesn't mean you can't be. Okay. Have you and your children left the country traveling before? If I'm honest, we've not done a lot of traveling abroad. So we are planning, if you have seen over on my Mummy of 4 Does Disney channel, we are planning a trip to Florida next year. Zara's never been out of the country. We've done just staycations. The others have been to France, and we've done a lot of staycations years ago, probably when I wasn't doing YouTube and we just had a touring caravan. I think do we still have a touring caravan? Someone chime in. Some of the OG followers chime in. I think we still had a touring caravan when I started doing Instagram, because initially I thought it was all going to be about YouTube when I started, and then I realized that actually doing videos when you've got a small baby, it's really hard work trying to film when you've got a little baby and things, and there's so much work that goes into it. So I pulled back from that and I focused on my blog and Instagram, which is why there probably isn't much on YouTube about me, us doing our kind of caravan holidays, because I abandoned my YouTube channel, if I'm honest. If you look back at my oldest videos started in 2017. So it says I've had my channel for that long, but my channel was dormant up until I relaunched it in 2019. So just having a quick look through. I've got my computer next to me. Hi, everybody. So glad you can hear me. Hello. Do the kids know about the trip to Disney yet? They do. They absolutely know about the trip to Disney. If you look over on my Mummy of 4 Does Disney channel, there is a trip announcement. Oh, hang on. This might be a different question. I might be answering the wrong question. There is a cruise announcement video. I didn't do a trip announcement to Florida because I'm kind of thinking it's in my head, it's a different thing. So as far as I'm concerned, we're leaving for the cruise on that date. The one to Florida, I feel like I have put a deposit on that date, and I don't want to set my heart and soul on that date because I feel like we just don't know what's going to be going on in the world. Are we going to be allowed to leave our country? Are we going to be allowed into that country? You just don't know. And I'm keeping everything crossed that the world opens back up and stays open, but I don't want to pin all our hopes on something and be really, really disappointed. So I've told them in a really, hey, do you know what? Mummy's put a deposit on this and it's all very exciting, but we're not doing like a this many days left till Disney thing. So the reason I didn't do a big trip announcement as such for that, for the children, is because I don't want to get their hopes pinned on a certain date. We are taking them. We're hoping it's on that date, but we don't really know, let's face it. Right. A lot of the questions that I've had have been autism related. So I'm going to shelve those, and I think maybe next week we'll do an autism specific Q&A, if that would be helpful to you guys. And some of the questions, if there's anything I come across that really feels that any of you guys would like me to elaborate on, then we could do a full Q&A. I'm thinking about doing these every Tuesday. Let me know in the comments. Is that something you'd like to see? Are you in, is this the kind of format you like? Just a really sort of chit-chatty thing. And if we could do like a Q&A on a Tuesday through the summer, just trial it out and see how it goes and see how you guys like it. How did your husband design the bathroom and the kitchen? He's a clever man. He is indeed clever. We have got a video where we went to Wren. I wasn't working with them at the time, but full disclosure, I've worked with them since. We just went to Wren. There is a video on my channel. By the way, guys, if there is anything I'm mentioning during this video that you want links to, someone just drop it in the comments or in the chat or in the comments of the video perhaps, and I'll go through that afterwards and find all the links and put them together, maybe in a blog post or something, or in the comments of the video, just so you can find them. But if there's any links you need that I'm chatting about that you can't find, let me know. But basically, if you go through our home renovation playlist right at the beginning, I think we went on Boxing Day, we went to Wren and we designed the kitchen there. And then the kitchen arrived and he fully installed it himself. With the bathroom, I think we just kind of went, I want a toilet there, I want whatever there. And all I said with the bathroom, I didn't really choose the bathroom with him. I left him sort of to his own design there. I just wanted a lot of storage. So I just said I want drawers under the sink and storage on the walls, so stuff can be hidden behind doors and drawers and not out on display looking messy. Let's hide the mess, shall we, and just have nice clear surfaces. So yeah, that's how he did that. And he is a builder anyway. I mean, he mostly does carpentry or sort of project management, but he's sort of a bit of an all-rounder. But yes, he is very clever. I don't have any room indoor to dry clothes. Any tips? That can be really hard. I've lived places before where there wasn't any room to dry stuff. It's a pain in the bum. You can get things to hang on doors. My husband did always whinge about that. He never liked us doing that because he didn't want damaging the top of the doors. So technically the hanging on the doors, things could damage the top of the doors. So if you've got doors you are fussy about them, perhaps you don't want to do that. But extenders for things on doors, extenders off radiators would be the answer, or just maybe on a landing. It's just got to be a bit of wherever you can find space to hang things, really. We sort of had this problem, which is why we kind of redid, we had the problem for bigger stuff, and we didn't have a tumble dryer originally when it was just Dylan when he was small, and then in fact, I did have a tumble dryer, and we didn't have a tumble dryer, and we did have a tumble dryer again. A lot of people do ask me, actually, one of the questions I did have was, how come you don't dry clothes outdoors? First of all, I live in Wales. So you wouldn't believe it now, because if you look out the window, it's boiling hot. And I'm so warm right now. I've shut all the windows in my office so you can't, it doesn't mess up the audio. It is so warm in here. So right now it's like, well, it would be insane not to dry things outdoors, but I don't have the facility to dry things outdoors, as in we don't have any kind of errors or washing lines and things outdoors, because 99% of the time, it rains and rains and rains, or you think it's nice and then it rains. And I just feel like I've got so much on my plate that having to re-wash clothes that I've already washed because it rained might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. So I don't know. I feel like some people almost get cross with me for not drying things outside. But it's just something I can't fit in with the rest of my schedule. I work full time. We don't really have any help with childcare and things. And we are obviously lucky enough to have a bit of space indoors where we can hang things up. So yeah, that's why I don't really. So next question. Would you say you overspoil your kids? Well, clearly some people think I do. Well, they wouldn't ask that question. Parenting's hard. Okay, parenting is really, really hard because I'm human, as are we all, and I just try and do my best. So I try not to overspoil them, but equally it's trying to find that balance between giving them the childhood you want to give them versus not overspoiling them. To me, spoilt is less about how much or how little you have and more about your attitude towards things. So if my children were expecting things that didn't say please or thank you, or just like, ugh, I don't like that, or that kind of attitude, I would see as more of a spoilt attitude than how much they do or don't have, personally. Now, parenting obviously is a very subjective thing. And do you know what? The internet's a funny place as well, because and some people will say, oh, you put yourself out there, you're still asking for it. But I get some people like messaging me saying, I don't know how you do it all. You run around like an idiot. You know, you work and you have the children and you don't have any help. And how do you do it? And hats off to you. And then I have some people like, oh, I can't cope with her at all. She's too much. She's too organized. She's too full on. And then I have some people criticizing me for taking shortcuts, like not drying my clothes outside, or saying I spoil my children too much, or using jars to cook some of my meals or whatever, not cooking everything from scratch. And again, I'm just human. I try my best with what I have. I think we all do. And I'm never going to get it fully 100% right. It's not going to happen. So I try my best. I try not to spoil them. I try and strike that balance between giving them a nice childhood and a nice life and not spoiling them. Do I achieve it? So definitely not all the time. As with everything now, it's just parenting, isn't it? Isn't that just life? Right. How are you managing the early starts? I tried an hour earlier, but I feel like I'm dying. If I'm honest, some days I get up easily and some days I feel like I'm dying. And in fact, full disclosure today, because I am struggling with workload at the moment. I got up at 4:15, as I have been. But last night, I didn't go to bed till a lot later than planned, and then Bella was upset. So I didn't go to bed, didn't fall asleep till close to midnight. So I got up at 4:15. And by 6:30, I'd finished like the first cut edit on a video. And I was on my knees. So I actually went back to bed for half an hour then. So it's not necessarily a linear process. Interestingly, I'm trying to move the children's bedtimes and wake up times. So I would give the same advice to you, whatever you're trying to do. So at the moment, I'm trying to get the children, for the sake of the cruise, to go to bed a little bit later and wake up a little bit later, because one of the nights we're booked in to see a show which doesn't start till 9:15, and my children are kind of 7 o'clock to bed kind of children. And I know if I just one night go from that to bam, let's stay up really late, they're going to really struggle with that, partly because they have autism and partly because they're children, and children thrive on routine. And, you know, we all do. Even on the weekend, so some days in the weeks, I struggle to get up because I need to work. And then on the weekends, I struggle to stay asleep because, you know, I'm used to getting up early. So I would say just nudge it a little bit. Do it 10 minutes at a time. Like, you can manage getting up 10 minutes earlier. Don't do an hour, do 10 minutes earlier, but go to bed 10 minutes earlier as well. And also don't go to bed at the time you should be going to sleep. I'm going to do it. In fact, if you guys are interested in it, I will do a full video on evening routine, but there's a lot of evening stuff that I do to set up my mornings for success. That sounds really pretentious, doesn't just set up my mornings for success. But basically, if I didn't do those things in the evening, then my mornings would just not be worth getting up for, because I wouldn't be productive. And I refuse to get up really early and not achieve things, because I may as well be asleep. If I'm just going to get up and just like bumble about the place, I may as well spend that time sleeping. So one of the things I would say is to make sure you're going to bed and at least half an hour before you want to go to sleep. You're settling down. I've actually got all my apps shutting down and things so that I'm not tempted to scroll, to look at work things or whatever that will like wake my mind up, and then I read something to switch my mind off, and then I listen to audio hypnosis things or that kind of thing, you know, the like meditation tracks to help me relax and go to sleep. So a lot of getting up earlier is the night before. Do you guys want to see that video? Right. Let's have a look at some bits in the question. Cloth nappies. Been watching a cloth nappy series and just wondering what actual brand of cloth nappies you'd recommend. Okay, slightly niche question because I haven't actually talked about cloth nappies for ages. My cloth nappy series I filmed when Zara, before she was 2, I think she's 4 now. Okay, off the top of my head, there was a brand, the pocket nappies were TJ's cloth nappies. I don't know if that company still even exists, but basically they were the cheapy ones that are made in China, the pocket nappies, little lamb nappies and boosters for the innards of the night nappies, and what are they called? Blueberry wraps from the outside. There we go. I hope that answers that. Okay. Hi. Hello, everybody. Okay. I can hear you. Good afternoon. Ice cream. There we go. Right. Oh, your kids coming in live. Zara is gorgeous. No, they're with my husband, actually. I've said, look, just keep them playing out there. I'll do this and then I'll finish. Because I won't actually be able to talk it through in here. You know what they're like. Hope you're all well. Will you be doing more grocery hauls? What I eat in the day videos? I will. And what's coming on Thursday? I can't even remember. I think the next video is a start of summer vlog where I kind of put into practice all the stuff I talked about in my tips for start of summer. You're an inspiration. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, you guys are so lovely. So cute. Right. Thank you. Let's keep flicking through. How are you feeling about Zara starting school? Mixed, like polarized. That's exactly how I feel. Not even mixed, like totally polarized. So part of me is absolutely devastated because she's my last baby. And if you watched the video where she started, because obviously she's been in school, hasn't she? She's been in like half days. If you watch the video where she started school and I blubbed like a baby, I mean, granted, if I'd known that she was going to finish 5 weeks later because of the global pandemic, I may not have cried as much, but I did cry a lot then. If you watch the video where I finished breastfeeding and I cried and cried, and that wasn't even about breastfeeding, it was just about the end of an era. I get very emotional about the end of an era stuff, especially with Zara, not because it's Zara, just because she's my last baby. And I get really like, you know, I've had a child at home with me at least part of the day for a decade. So this, since she started half days, is the only time since William was born, because I had a bit of a breather, if you like, where William was in full-time school. Dylan was in full-time school before I had William. So, but since I had William, I've had a child with me at least part of the day, every single day, every day for 10 years. So that's quite a lot, isn't it? So it is emotional. It is. So I feel like I'm actually not going to talk about it much more in case I start crying on YouTube live, but very emotional about it. But then equally, I have to remind myself that this is good. It means they're growing up and thriving. But more than anything, this is kind of what I've been setting all this up to work towards. The idea is I can work from home and manage it around the children in a manageable way. And the way I've been trying to juggle everything, I've got to be honest, is not sustainable long term. I couldn't do this forever. I cannot run at the speed I'm running like this forever. I know I'll burn out. I might burn out before September, who knows? But I can't get up at 4:15 every morning and juggle the children and do everything. I can't do that for the rest of my life. I know I can't. So I'm running this up to designing it so that when they're all in full-time school, which they will be in September, I will be able to, this is my plan, try and hold it to me, guys. Hold me to it, guys. Maybe still get up a little bit earlier, but not so early. Work in a ridiculously productive way because I have trained myself to be really productive. Because as I said, I hate the idea of getting up really early in the morning and not being productive because I may as well be asleep. So be super productive during those work hours and then turn off. This is my big computer next to me. Turn it off. Put on out of office so that brands and things know that I won't be back at my desk, and not do any of that stuff. Maybe jump on stories or answer a couple of YouTube comments, but like limit that to a certain amount of minutes. Then the app shuts off on my phone. And I'm going to aim to not work evenings and minimally work on weekends. And I'm going to aim to like really, really work really hard through term time and pull it back in half term. That's the plan. So from that point of view, I'm looking forward to having better quality time with my children and not feeling like I'm constantly on. If I'm honest, at the moment, I do feel I'm a little bit on a hamster wheel. I can't get off, especially since I'm trying to like get everything organized and ready to go so we can go away. I've then still got to get all my content ready and scheduled for while we go away, because I haven't missed an upload since I relaunched my channel. I don't intend to start now. I think I worry about you letting you guys down, and I worry about the YouTube algorithm punishing me and all my hard work being for nothing if I miss an upload. So I'm absolutely adamant that I want to kind of get all that scheduled. But to go back to the question, how do I feel about Zara starting school? Devastated, but also quietly optimistic, because hopefully I can achieve a bit more balance, including having better time with the children, better quality time with the children, where I'm less overwhelmed and stressed. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. How do you manage fuss eating and not cooking too many meals? Right, this is a whole topic. I could probably go into this as a whole thing. Long story short, it's been a process. Now, William, who is now 9 and has autism, when he was small, he started off eating everything. Like, we did baby-led weaning, he ate everything. And then he narrowed it down and down and down and down. And he'd only eat really healthy food, but he had the same breakfast, the same lunch, and the same dinner every day. Like, no word of a lie, every day. So he had the same sandwiches and fruit at lunchtime. He had this same pasta with hidden vegetable, so it was really healthy, sauce every day in the evening that I had to make. When we went to France, I had to take portions of it with me in the freezer of our touring caravan, because otherwise he would have starved. And I said to the specialist, like, should I just be like, there's your food, eat it or starve? And she said, a neurotypical child, yeah, that would work. But for a child with autism, they would just starve. So it was a process. And it was, I think I've written a blog post about it. Definitely, if you type fussy eating into my blog, I'm 99%, I've definitely written one in my head. I'm pretty sure there's a blog post about it on there with all the tips. But if you want me to turn that into a video, then I absolutely can do that. I will add it to my list, my kind of schedule list. Or maybe we could even do it, just chat through it as one of these lives, because that's the kind of topic that I could do a whole live on, if that's something that you are interested in. Right, okay, let's go to the comments on here. Right, favorite Disney song or favorite Disney characters? Oh, it's like asking me to pick a favorite child. Which favorite Disney song? It's like favorite Disney song at the moment. I like the Happily Ever After song from the fireworks, which I know isn't actually from a Disney film, but it's from the fireworks because we've watched the Disney fireworks that we're going to see, and I am like 100% sure that I will cry when I hear the Happily Ever After song playing for the Disney fireworks. So that's my favorite one today, but it changes daily. And favorite Disney characters, all the princesses, does that count? And Mickey and Minnie. I'm really looking forward to just like having pictures with Mickey and Minnie with the children on the cruise. I'd be interested in any kids app recommendations you've come across in a vlog. Right, okay, cool. I have recommended a few in videos already, and I'm pretty sure I've also got a blog post. I think it's called something like educational apps, if you type that into my blog. But yeah, I could do that. And also I was thinking about doing a video about like what's on my iPhone, because there are certain apps that I kind of rely on, partly for work, partly for home, that would hopefully help you guys. Okay, love your videos. Oh, thank you. Guys, you lot, you just are so lovely. The internet's a funny place because most of you are just the most wonderful, supportive, amazing people. And then you get some comments and you're like, ugh. And I just have to remember that not everybody is going to like everything you do. And it's difficult to ignore those 1% things and kind of focus on the positives. That's probably the whole thing I could talk about. Like positivity has been a whole journey as well. How do you manage your children without additional needs? My oldest is high functioning ASD and my younger girls are copying behaviors and I'm at a loss. A lot of the things they teach you about parenting kids with autism, actually I realized is kind of just good parenting. So if I'm honest, I kind of implemented the things that I learnt when I realized William was diagnosed with the others. Now, it turns out that Bella then did have autism as well. Again, this is probably like a deeper, like a deep dive autism thing. So we'll come back to that. I think next week, let me know in the comments, guys, shall we do an autism Q&A next week? Would that be helpful? Because I think that's a whole deep dive thing that we need to kind of go into. No, you don't really eat proper meals except tea time with your family. Why is this? I do eat proper meals, but you don't always see everything on YouTube or stories. I do eat the bars for breakfast because I find if I eat cereal or toast, I get a massive sugar crash mid-morning. I get the shakes and then I eat junk. Lunchtime, sometimes I eat those bars because I'm kind of running around, I'm on the go, and sometimes we all sit down and have lunch together. It just varies. And to be honest, I think everyone just has to remember that it is a snapshot. As much as I try and be like upfront and honest and open, you're only seeing a few minutes of my day. It might take me all day to edit those few minutes of my day, to put nice music over it and, make it YouTubeable. But you're only seeing a snapshot. So I think people see it that little bit and make assumptions based on because quite frankly, I think even if you've seen every video I've ever made, which is a lot, then it's still only a snapshot, isn't it? Because it's still only a fraction of the time. So will your kids be wearing masks on the cruise? Dylan is over 11, so he will have to. They have changed the rules now. You don't have to wear them outside on deck. It was going to be masks everywhere unless you're in your stateroom or physically eating. You don't have to wear them on deck now. The little ones, I will give them the option if they want to, but they're under 11. They don't have to. And obviously 2 of them have autism anyway. So probably not, but I will give them the option if they want to. Would you rather go without chocolate or wine? Oh, you can't ask me that. Can't ask me that. Neither. Not acceptable to go without either. Okay, just I can't choose. What year is your children going into? Okay, Dylan is going into year upper 6. So what's that? Year 13. Will's going into year 5. Bella is going into year 2, which is top infants, and Zara is going to reception, which in Wales is just the first year in which they go to full-time school. Okay, your autism Q&A would be helpful. Cool. Right. Cool. We'll do that. Right. Okay. Let's go back to some more over on the screenshot from Instagram. Okay. You want more videos about Disney? They're all over on my Mummy of 4 Does Disney channel. Check them out over there. How do you get me time? I don't very much, if I'm honest. I am trying really hard to make time for a little bit of exercise, which I wouldn't count as luxurious me time. More like if I don't make time for exercise, I keep this phrase keeps echoing in my head that if you don't make time for your wellness, you're forced to make time for your illness. And every time I have to phone my physio and be like, please help, I can't look left. And literally my teenager makes fun of me because sometimes, or I can't actually the last time I couldn't look right. And he was like, man, I was like, yes. That he just thought it was hysterical to stand behind me. And I was like some sort of, robot thing up my neck that I couldn't move. So if I am trying really hard to make time for exercise. Me time though, I am trying to make time to sit and read before I go to bed, just not worky stuff. Not normally I'd read, self-development and stuff like that. But I'm trying to make time to read just novels, literally for 10 minutes just to switch off my brain. I'm trying to make time to sit with my husband for a little bit in the evenings. I'm trying to make time to spend time with my children. But how do I make time for me time? I am hoping to do more of that in September when things are less mental and the hamster wheel slows down a bit. Your thoughts on life? Well, that's really deep. So maybe that's just for a whole topic, my thoughts on life. It's a crazy ride, a fun and wild and crazy ride. There we go. Right. So lots of people wanting more information about autism. How do you bounce back from setbacks, work-related goals, day that isn't going as planned? I think the biggest thing you've got to do is just forgive yourself. I am, especially when it comes to food and things, the biggest kind of whoops, I've slipped up, so I may as well eat the whole cake kind of person, I will admit. So this is the bit you have to forgive me in lives. I normally stop and drink in between filming. Those are the bits I cut out in the edit. Because I'm talking, it gives me a dry throat. Yeah, you have to forgive yourself and just say, look, it's okay to start again, to perhaps reassess your goals, reassess and look at what made you kind of slip up. The biggest sort of setbacks I get work related are usually like mindset things. So I get a negative comment that sends me like, oh, what if I'm not doing well enough? What if I'm letting people down? What if, whatever, that kind of thing that kind of sends me spiraling. But also when something happens, I think the biggest thing you can ask yourself, rather than like, well, why is this happening to me? But what can I learn from this? So I had an issue really recently where I was dealing with a brand and there was like a miscommunication, and then they wanted me to do something last minute, and it was a mess. And what I realized was I was becoming too available. So these people had sent me something really late in the evening and they'd expected me to action it because I'd responded to something, and then they responded again. They sent me the last email like 8:00 or something. And I realized I need to learn to draw some boundaries and some lines, because it's not fair for people to expect me to be available for work-related things all 24 hours a day. So I now put out of office responders on my emails when I step away from my desk. So say I work in the mornings, and then I put an out of office on. Well, I was doing it when I went to pick Zara up from school. And then if I happen to pick up my emails, then great, but people know not to expect a response. So that is an example of, I ran into a setback, I ran into a problem, and I'm really trying hard not to go, oh, why is this happening? But to go, okay, what can I learn from this and how can I improve from this? Because the hardest thing about my job is I don't know anyone that does it. I am literally making it up as I go along and winging it. And I am my own, creative department and accounts and all of it. And I just don't know anyone in real life that does what I do. So it's difficult because I don't have anyone to ask really. So, right, can you do another grocery haul? Yeah, filmed one yesterday. It'll be out next week. What YouTubers do the kids watch? They love those little dolls, what they call Elsia and Anya. Elsia and Anya, Come Play With Me. That's the little one's favorite channel. They absolutely love that. What are your kids' favorite Disney characters? Bella likes Belle because she is Belle, apparently. Zara's into Cinderella at the moment, and William likes Star Wars. If that counts as Disney, that's his favorite. But they're also really into Mickey's Roadster races at the moment. My favorite video is your cleaning and organizing video. They're amazing. Oh, thank you. That's, well, it's nice. It's nice when anyone likes any kind of the videos. Right. Plans for the next few months. Hints, tips, anything really. I love your channel. Oh, thank you. Plans for the next few months. Survive the summer. Try and make the most of the summer with the children, while also trying to work full time without any childcare, which is fun. And also trying to make sure I've done enough work so that everything keeps running while I go away. So that's my kind of a challenge. Right, where have I put the rest of these screenshots? Have you always worked from home, or have you managed childcare in a 9-to-5 setting with an office job? I used to, in fact, there was another, what job did you before you had children? So let's go into all this. I went to university and got a business studies degree, and then I kind of did marketing kind of roles, sales and marketing in some cases. When Dylan was little, I was working for quite a large company in their marketing, and the arrangement was I was going to hopefully work from home a certain portion of the time, but they wanted me in the office a lot more, and I ended up just really, really struggling to juggle. We had some help when Dylan was little, and that diminished and ended up being no help at all. And then just before I got pregnant with William, I left that job in order to do things like working for myself. I did little bits and pieces then when William was small, nothing like as intense as I'm doing now. And I worked part-time, but from home, for my husband's then business that he doesn't have anymore. But in essence, I realized at that time where I left that job and then I had William and I was small, that with no help at all, and what I now realize to be children with additional needs, so like additional childcare is more complicated. Sort of paying for childcare and things is a bit more complicated because I feel like my children rely on me more. I realize that I have to work for myself, or I can't work really, because I don't know, maybe things are better now. Maybe employers are more understanding. Hopefully COVID, if there's any positive to come out of it, has made working from home more acceptable. It's made it more kind of parenting friendly. I hope that is the case, because my last experience of trying to work for another company and juggle parenting was difficult and not easy. So I realized that I need to do my own thing. And that's why I kind of set this up when Zara was very small. And I don't think I could go back to working for anyone else, because I think perhaps if I had more help, if we had like family and things that we could rely on to help with the children and things, it would be different. But the way that we have it set up, this is the only way that I could possibly work it. There we go, just dumping into here. What do you plan to do when Zara goes to school full time? I plan to do what I'm doing, but during the hours of daylight. So I plan to stop getting up at 4:15 in the morning and just work doing the work I still currently have to do, but during the day, and then turn off my computer like a normal person and spend the evening with my children and have more of a normal work pattern. That would be wonderful. Is the house you live in now your forever home? Very well could be. We love it here, but never say never. The idea of moving again, if you said tomorrow to me, you have to move again, I would cry and cry and cry and cry. I'm never going to say never, but we will not be moving for a really long time, because moving's really stressful. Hi there. My family amazing. Oh, thank you. Has Zara got autism? Not that we know of, but between you, people of YouTube, and me, when William was being, this is a whole like autism thing for next week, really, isn't it? We'll talk about this next week. There's a whole thing that I need to discuss about that, but we'll talk about that next week when we do the autism one. Okay, so what does Dylan do for his GCSEs? He did his GCSEs, not go and watch Dylan's birthday interviews. There we go. All that's in there. He did well in his GCSEs, but they're all in his birthday interviews. Right, next one. Why did you stop dancing? This is something that you guys may or may not know about me. When I was younger, I did ballet and jazz and all the shows and all musical theatre and stuff for years and years and years. And then I kind of stopped when I left home, I guess. When I was growing up, I wanted to grow up and be a dancer, but I was kind of told by some people, not my dance teachers, that led to believe that it was just something that was never going to happen. And I think if I've learnt anything, is that actually you can make things happen if you really put your mind to it. And the message I would like to give to my children is, whatever you want to make happen, throw your heart and soul into it, find ways to make that happen, and you can make it happen. So I'm not saying I regret it, because I'm happy where I am now, so I wouldn't change a thing that's got to me where I am now. But however, I would want to make sure my children know that whatever they want to do, if they put everything behind it and they do everything in their power to make that happen, then they can make things happen. So anyway, stopped dancing, went to university, did like a lot of like exercise classes and things. And then I did a qualification alongside working so that I could teach like exercise, dance classes, that kind of thing. And then when Dylan was small, I kind of went through a phase of doing more of that and less of like my kind of day job stuff. Then I went back into more of the day job stuff because there was more money in it, because obviously there's only a certain amount of money you make teaching classes a couple of hours a week. But long story short, the reason I stopped it, I did love it. And I love the fact that I was being forced to go to exercise because I was the teacher. So there's no excuse then. But I stopped it just because I had really small children and no childcare, really. That was the biggest reason. I did go through a small phase of teaching like a mummy and baby class when William was little, so I could take him with me, but then he became super mobile and that was quite tricky. I have toyed with the idea of doing dance, fitness, like classes on my YouTube channel. I kind of feel like it would make more sense to set up a separate YouTube channel for that. But then do I really need to manage 3 YouTube channels? Like, I like mad, really? I don't need to be doing that. But I don't know. I feel like the YouTube algorithm would not like it if I put exercise classes on this channel. Just to very briefly go into what I mean about that. Basically, if you watch a video from a channel, then they'll suggest other videos. YouTube, they being YouTube, will suggest other videos. So if you came to me for like a grocery haul, but then it suggested like an exercise video, you'd be like, what's this? I don't want that. Whereas if it suggests another grocery haul, you might be like, well, I like those, so I'll watch those. So if you on a channel create more of the same type of content that people will like, or the same, it doesn't have to be the same type of content, but more content that that person that came there for that reason would enjoy, it's more likely to do well and your channel's more likely to thrive. If you kind of do all sorts of random stuff, then YouTube sort of punishes you, that's the wrong word, but won't push your channel out as much, it won't succeed as well. So I'd love to do that kind of thing, but I don't know if it would work. Okay, do you have any hobbies? Sleeping, like fit and sleeping, not much. Do I have any hobbies? No, but I'd like to. Maybe that's something I should take up. I need to take up a hobby. What's the downside to doing YouTube? Is it worth it financially? The downside is it is a lot of slog to start with before you get anywhere at all. You can't even monetize your videos until you have, my husband is now drilling something, that's helpful. I've asked him to be nice and quiet while I'm doing this. He's drilling, of course he is. Literally drilling. Okay. What was I even saying? Yeah, so you work for a very long time, you work very hard without earning any money at all. My second channel, I got monetized quite quickly because I knew what I was doing a lot quicker. I managed to do that in 5 weeks, I think, but generally it takes about a year for a channel to get monetized, which means you get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours before you can even make any money from ads. And then obviously you can do brand work, you can do affiliate marketing and stuff, but until you've got your like channel or whatever to like a critical mass, you basically earn no money from it. So you've got to be able to do it as a side hustle or whatever, and you've got to be able to invest all that time and energy without earning anything from it, which is quite difficult. And then it's quite difficult when you've got people in your life that don't understand what it is you're trying to do, being like, well, why are you doing all this work? You're not earning any money. It does pay off. And I obviously make a living out of it. People do a lot better than me. You know, I'm far from a millionaire. People do really well out of it. And some people, it's never more than a hobby. So, but I probably think the hardest thing about YouTube is people just don't get it. So for example, this video is probably like one of my lowest maintenance videos. So I set up the stream. I did have to fiddle around with my equipment and things this morning because obviously I'm using my big camera and my mic and stuff, so I had to set that up this morning. So, but next time I sit down to do this, I just need to set up the stream, do a thumbnail, and we're good to go. Sit down, talk, done. So I think people think, oh, she does 3 videos a week, 20 minutes. What she do, you know, that's 1 hour a week. What should do with the rest of her time? Well, normally I would then take I would film all this. I would then put it into my computer. I would cut out all the pauses. I would layer over loads of B-roll, which are just clips of me doing anything other than talking to camera. I would go and film other B-roll. I would go and look for other B-roll. I'd put the graphics over it. I would analyze where other videos have dropped off, what has made people bored. How can you like make your videos better? How can I make them more interesting? Where do I need to add? How can I up-level my camera? How can I up-level my filming? I do a lot. There's like a lot of head work. I'm a lot in my head about it, about how I can improve. I watch a lot of videos about how to make better YouTube videos, how to improve your audience retention, how to improve your viewer experience. And then I worry, well, am I just wasting my time? Would I get just as many views if I just talked to camera, didn't edit anything and uploaded it all? So the thing is, people don't realize how much work goes into it. People don't understand how much goes into and like no one in my real life understands it. And in fact, I even cringe when people say, what do you do for a living? I'm like, oh, I kind of do like video, like influence. I hate that. I'm not an influencer. Like that really makes me cringe. That just me. But no, I can't go with that. YouTuber makes me feel like I'm 12. Digital content creator. It sounds a bit pretentious. People don't know what that is either. Blogger sounds like some sort of hobby. I don't know. I need to figure out what to call myself because I do cringe answering that question. Do you have any potty training tips for a 2.5-year-old who has a meltdown when you even mention potties? Main tip, like, don't force it. But there is a whole potty training, I think I got a potty training series back from when I potty trained Zara. So there's a whole load of videos over on there. We are going to have to wrap up soon because I'm basically melting. I've had to close the windows so that we can get audio right and stuff. And I'm so hot, so hot. I'm like going to melt into a puddle right in front of you guys here on YouTube. Okay. So are there any other questions that I have missed that I absolutely need to answer? I will, like, I promise I'll read all of these later. I do appreciate every single one of your comments. I do read them all. So thank you. I'm genuinely very grateful for every single, like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things, because you're supporting me. And every time I get messages from you guys over on Instagram and things and DMs, especially when, you're saying like, thank you for your videos and whatever. I've taken to screenshotting those, because when I have those days where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I get negative comments or whatever, and I think I'm not helping anyone, not going anywhere, it's a mess. Then I go back to those lovely messages that you guys have written, and they keep me going. So I am genuinely very, 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 very grateful for all of them. So, right, I am now going to go, and because my children are still up, as we mentioned, trying to eke them out to staying up a little bit later. So I'm going to go and deal with them. Ask my husband why he's drilling something when I'm trying to be live on YouTube. Not terribly helpful, and generally open some windows so that I don't melt. But thanks so much for joining me, guys. I'd love to hear, like, in the comments of this video, what you want me to talk about, whether you want to do these again, what else you want, to talk about. I think we'll do more of a topic next time. So if we say autism for next time, I'll put perhaps a YouTube community post up, or just leave the comments, your questions about autism, not in the chat of this video, but in the comments. Do you know what I mean? Like in the actual comments, not the chat. And I'll look for them in there. Thank you for doing this in the heat. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm about to go and do my favorite trick for staying cool, actually, which is get into the shower at a normal temperature and turn it down a little bit every time until it's freezing cold, and just stay there for as long as I possibly can. Summer holiday plans, Disney cruise, and just January 25. And where else are you apart from YouTube? I do have a Facebook page, but to be honest, I used to do loads of lives and stuff over there, and then Facebook's algorithm changed. So I don't, I have a Facebook page and stuff that gets posted over there, but my main place I hang out, obviously YouTube, every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday at 7 p.m. YouTube on my Mummy of Four Does Disney channel, which I tend to post videos. I haven't got a set upload schedule there, but I tend to post on either Mondays, Wednesdays or Fridays over there, because they're not upload days for my main channel. And then Instagram, I am Mummy of Four UK on Instagram, and Mummy of Four Does Disney on Instagram. So you can find me over there. Are you and Daddy of Four childhood sweethearts? No, but we did know each other a long time ago before we got together. That's a story for another day. I know there have been some requests actually to get Daddy of Four on to do another couples Q&A, because he was rather entertaining. God, the last one I did 2019, I think, the last couples Q&A. Perhaps we will do another one very soon. Right, gonna love you, leave you guys. See you soon. Thanks so much for joining me. See you soon.